Hey, it's Kimike, and we just got episode 20 of Vikings. It was an incredible episode. We got so many awesome twists, some brilliant character development, and major plot movement. But now, we also got a sneak peek for season 5 of Vikings. So we're going to go through that now in this video, see what we can see for the next season of Vikings, which should be really awesome as things start to really hype up with this new generation of Vikings that we brought along. It's kind of sad to see the old Vikings generation kind of die off, but we do look like it's going to have some pretty awesome stuff from Floki and a whole bunch more this season. So let's get into this. We'll break down every part of this little sneak peek we get here and get excited for season 5, which we have no idea how long it's going to be away.
I see that.
Now I'm going to stop this here mainly for the reason that we get this shot here of Ivar getting knocked off his chariot by this pole and onto the ground. And I'm not entirely sure if this is in a battle scene when they're raiding a castle or it's him like training or something. We see a person in the background holding up a shield. This could be a fight, but it just seems like there's not many people around him, so it could be like a training field where he's getting better with maneuvering himself with that chariot so he can really help out more in battles, as he didn't actually do that much apart from command in that previous battle with the Wessex forces. Now, of course, we get this little introduction to a prophecy type thing that Sia is saying to Torvi here, I believe, and it's probably going to be directed to Lagatha and Kattegat because she's talking to Torvi, so that's going to be some interesting misfortune and death that's going to happen there. This could be from the return of the Fine-Hair brother. The only other possibility I can think of is that she's asking on the behalf of Björn and his journey back into the Mediterranean for the second time. Now that they know about Vikings, they're prepared for Vikings, possibly, and other stuff like that. So that could really show an interesting twist to how the success of his first raid to this one that's going to do now into the Mediterranean will be different.
The consequences of Ragnar's death are not yet played out. You have only seen the beginning of the end.
Okay, we have to come with the truth now. Sigurd is dead. He died last season. He was bleeding out, and he was on the collapse on the ground. His snake eye was revealed, and there was so much more to the impact of that scene that hit us hard. We didn't really know if he was going to die, but this confirms it. He is in his funeral, he's in the boat, and it does even seem that Ivar has been heavily affected by the death of his brother. Even if he hated him, even made him angry, it really will hit him hard, this death, and it may be another reason that ignites him to go even further and more violent than anything he's been before. And there's been a lot of talk about Ivar's character, and he's always been portrayed in the sagas and history as an extremely evil and ruthless character. Him killing Sigurd really made the fan base understand that he is someone unbelievably dangerous to deal with. Now, Michael Hirst said in his AMA at Reddit that he really feels like he sympathizes with Ivar because he's someone who deals with this really painful problem with his legs and trying to fit into this like society and the Viking way, trying to be a son of Ragnar with all this stuff in his path, and it really mounts to him having this attitude towards life where he just is so angry all the time. But this is definitely going to make him a more shaky character, kind of like Rolor back in that season 1 when he was raping girls left and right, very dangerous, pretending to betray Ragnar all the time. And it's really going to be a test to see how the relationship between the people who stay with Ivar will be. I feel like he'll go more alone in his actions now. He'll either take charge and separate himself from the other sons, or completely take his own forces like he was saying he would be in the end of season 4. Now we also get this finishing to that line Sia was saying of the consequences of Ragnar's death have not fully yet played out, and there's a lot more to happen before the end. Now, this could be due to the renewal of the character we're about to soon see in this preview, and what we also got at the very end of season 4, episode 20, with that new bishop guy who doesn't really act like the average bishop. As Björn said when they finished that battle with Adolf, it's not over yet.
Well, now prepare yourself for what is to come.
Okay, first things first, Floki is definitely in Iceland. Right now, he has clearly discovered Iceland in this part here. He is being washed up in a very heavy storm as he conquested out by himself to fulfill the gods' needs, his revival into letting them control him, as he said to Björn. And this has led him just to send out to sea, and the gods have pathed him to land in Iceland. And he's completely claimed that upon the guidance of his gods. And it's really a remarkable feat in his sagas that will also mean we don't know how much more with Floki will get, how his discovery at Iceland will really relate to the rest of the story. But it'll be very interesting to see him go there and all the other stuff we get around there. That'll be really cool. And then we get an even more clear foreshadowing to how they had to prepare themselves for a second wave of challenge and conquest with this new bishop character. I'm definitely going to get a militaristic Christian fundamentalist kind of vibe from this person. So that is something that is very hard to overcome, because the Vikings had the advantage in these fights in England and stuff because of the way their culture is and how they fight with this, like, not even a fear of death, because if they die in battle they go to Valhalla. Well, Christian fundamentalists have a similar advantage.
What is to come? Tell me.
Do you suppose that you could change your fate if you knew it?
So clearly Season 5 is going to be jam-packed with a whole bunch of Kattegat conflict and interesting people and stuff, and Uber here is clearly mending some fences with Lagertha, really connecting them. I mainly believe that was due to his relationship with that slave girl and how they probably bonded over the time when he was away in England with Lagertha, so they're going to be more of a family unit now and care about their similar Lothbrok interests as opposed to people who are trying to usurp them like the Feinheirs. Now, the seer still claims that Lagertha will die by a son of Ragnar, so it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out, if she dies this season or way later on in the series, because it's a potential for both. Now, I very much see the mending between the sons of Ragnar and Lagertha happening more this season than conflict, especially with Ivar remaining in England for a lot longer than the other ones who are returning, who are more willing to make that gap between her. But I would be really interested to hear what you guys think will happen next season with the Kattegat and the characters there, how the Sons of Ragnar that go back there will react and stuff, because you guys' stuff is really way more interesting than me. We know there's awesome stuff in the history with the Feinheirs and so much more awesome things that can be jam-packed into Kattegat and what happens in that region. So tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. So here we're seeing more and more of that conflict between the new bishop and Ivar, and it's definitely going to be a personalized war of conquest and very, very large challenge between these two characters as they try to outsmart, outfight, outbrute each other. Now, I'm interested in the shields and the kind of different things we see here, as we know that they have, like, the cross on them. It's more to do with the faith, which backs more and more that this is definitely a fundamentalist religious force rather than a national king force or something like that. It's not a force for a nation or a people, it's a force for a religion, which is definitely going to really show that huge conflict between Christians and Vikings. Which would be really interesting because a lot of people really enjoy the show because it's so religious in these ideals and things. It really just thoroughly gets its fingers deep into how people fought back in those days and how that was a really huge part of their lives. Whether it's Floki to any people in England, they really made their religious beliefs and the gods that they follow something that was very important to their day-to-day lives, their politics, to anything. And it was more the different kings, different rulers, different people fighting wasn't as bad as an approachment on their religious beliefs. And we can already start to see how bloody religious wars can get.
The wrath of God.
Okay, let's go through what we saw in this little part here, bit by bit. So we have Bjorn heading back off to the Mediterranean, and it's going to be very interesting from what we get there, because it's possible we meet up with Rollo, although we don't get anything in this actual sneak peek here, this trailer, from anything from Rollo. We know from Michael Hurst that we are going to see him again. If we are going to see him again, I hope we at least see him in Season 5. They can't have a whole season without him. It would be really interesting to see how far he conquests in this. I have a feeling he's not going to do as well this time as he did last time, because he only got the very, very beginning Spain part of Mediterranean and not really deep into the heart of Italy, Rome, all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens there. If you know the history, you know, so they're pretty awesome things that happen there as well. We also see there's going to be some battles with Uber, Vixen, a whole bunch of people. And it's going to be quite a warring, very season. I feel like we're going to have tons of battles across the entire season to do with many different characters. We also have this shot here of Ivar looking boss-ass, standing up with like armor that's clearly keeping him standing upright, so he looks more like a battle commander, someone who can overwatch things and stand up straight, you know? He can blood eagle people now because he can stand up for long enough. Definitely a lot of interesting things we can hear from Ivar. There's this one of him in this church thing with this weird skull thing in the background, so it's going to be interesting to see that he's taking over different places and castles, as we saw from this preview, taking over monasteries as churches, as this huge conflict really battles out. One other thing we get here, apart from that scream of Ivar and that bloody face that we got from so many trailers and stuff, is that we also get the scene here where the bishop is hitting this guy across the face who he's clearly captured, and this could be Uber. I'm not entirely sure because a lot of Vikings have this hair kind of shape. Tell me who you guys think this person is in the comments below, so, you know, I don't feel as bad for making a guess. So from the looks of it, Season 5 is going to be absolutely incredible. So many awesome fights and adventures from the characters that we know and new ones that we're starting to get to know a lot better. There's been closure to what happened in Season 4 and a whole bunch more expansion in England, Kattegat and the Mediterranean. I really hope you guys stick with me as I make videos in between then and now. Hopefully that's not at long because, you know, Vikings does do really weird breaks for their show, so I hope it's a very short break, not a very long one. Other than that, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be putting out my review for the last episode and then hopefully a review for the entire season coming out soon, and more Game of Thrones videos of course as the season has ended. We start hitting back into that as Season 7 starts to roll around.